They said no one could feel pain through 100 layers of silk, but that night the storm proved them wrong, for even through gold and velvet, a single pea can awaken a heart that remembers how to feel. Once, beyond the edges of every map, there was a kingdom built not on kindness, but on appearances. Its towers glittered with gemstones, but its people slept with empty dreams. And at the center of that golden cage lived a prince, a boy with everything except peace. He had inherited a throne, a crown of flawless beauty, and a mother whose love was colder than her diamonds. Queen Alara believed that true royalty could only be proven by perfection, but the prince, Aran, felt that perfection was nothing without compassion, and that night after night he lay awake beneath heavy blankets of silk, unable to sleep, haunted by dreams of a girl he had never met, a girl who cried beside a window in the rain, and whose tears somehow reached his heart. Every morning, Aran walked to the highest balcony and stared at the horizon, hoping to find the one who could make him feel something real. He whispered to the wind, "If there is someone who still feels the world as I do, let the storm bring her to me." That night, the storm answered. Lightning split the skies as thunder crawled over the valley. Rain lashed the marble steps, and through that storm, a shadow moved. A girl in a torn gown, her bare feet cut by stone, her face pale, eyes shining with stubborn fire. When the guards opened the gates, she didn't beg, she didn't cry. She simply said, "I am a princess, and I seek shelter." The guards laughed, but Queen Alara appeared behind them, her eyes sharp and judging. "A princess, you say? Then where is your crown?" The girl smiled faintly. "Some crowns cannot be seen." The prince standing nearby froze. Her voice was the one from his dreams. The rain glittered on her lashes like diamonds fallen from heaven, and for the first time in years, he felt something pierce through his numbness. The queen's lips curved into a cold smile. "Prepare her a room," she said softly. "Let's see if her royal blood survives the night." Servants hurried through the halls, stacking mattresses one upon another, 100 in all. Beneath them, the queen placed a single green pea, and in her mind, it was not a test of sensitivity, but of deception. She believed that only a liar would claim discomfort from such a thing. But fate has a way of turning cruelty into revelation. The girl, exhausted from the storm, thanked the servants and lay upon the towering bed. The candles dimmed, the thunder rumbled, and while the palace slept, she did not. For no matter how she turned, the bed felt strange, as though something alive pulsed beneath her. A whisper, faint yet constant, a voice that said, "Do not forget who you are." In the stillness of the night, she saw visions of forgotten faces, of people who once served this kingdom and were cast away. Their suffering pressed against her skin like invisible thorns. She felt every cry, every wound, every injustice. And through that sleepless pain, she understood royalty was not about how much one could own, but how deeply one could feel. When dawn broke, her eyes were ringed with shadows, yet her expression was serene. The prince found her sitting by the window, her hair kissed by early light. "Did you sleep well?" he asked softly. She turned, her gaze gentle but unyielding. "There is something beneath your bed," said the queen behind them. "I wonder if you noticed." The girl nodded, her voice calm. "I felt it. A small thing, but impossible to ignore." It reminded me of every soul your kingdom has forgotten, of every pain hidden beneath silk and gold. For true nobility is not comfort, it is awareness. The hall fell silent. The queen's breath caught. The prince stepped closer, his heart trembling. He saw in her what he had searched for his whole life, not royalty born, but royalty earned, the kind that cannot be crowned, only recognized. He reached for her hand, and the storm outside began to fade. The girl smiled, her eyes glistening with the reflection of sunrise. The pea beneath the bed was carried away and placed in a glass box, and the queen, now quiet, stared at it for a long time. She finally understood what her perfection had cost her, the ability to feel. That night, the kingdom changed. The prince and the girl walked together through the gardens, where rain still shimmered on every leaf, and for the first time, the kingdom of restless hearts found rest, not through silence, not through sleep, but through the courage to feel even the smallest pain. The days that followed the storm were unlike any the kingdom had ever seen. Whispers drifted through the marble corridors. Some said the girl was blessed, others said cursed. But wherever she walked, silence followed her like a shadow that listened. The prince found himself drawn to her presence, not because she was beautiful, though she was, but because she made the world around her feel alive again. Her name was Lyra, and though she spoke softly, her words carried the weight of truth. She spent her mornings walking among the servants, helping mend torn clothes, sharing food with the kitchen boys. And each night, she sat beneath the great oak tree at the edge of the courtyard, listening to the wind like it was an old friend. When the prince asked why she did such things, she smiled. Because no kingdom can stand tall if its roots are hungry. He felt something inside him shift. A part of him, long buried beneath luxury and pride, began to breathe again. And for the first time since his childhood, he laughed. Not the laugh of a prince, but of a man rediscovering himself. The queen watched from her tower window, her heart heavy with confusion. She had ruled through order, through control, but the people now looked not to her, but to Lyra, who ruled with kindness. And in the reflection of her mirror, Alara saw a truth she could not ignore, that she had mistaken fear for respect and silence for loyalty. That evening, she summoned Lyra. In the throne room, candles flickered. The queen's crown shimmered in the dim light. "Tell me," she said, "what gives you such power over hearts?" Lyra looked at her without bowing. "It isn't power, Your Majesty. It's pain, shared instead of hidden. That is all." The queen's eyes softened, and for the first time, she felt the sting of humility. As weeks turned to months, Lyra's compassion began to shape the kingdom. Markets opened again. Gardens bloomed where weeds had taken root. Children laughed in the courtyards where once only guards had walked. And at night, when storms rolled in, no one feared them anymore, for they remembered that the last storm had brought them light. The prince and Lyra would often walk by the river, their reflections merging on the surface. And though the castle whispered of their growing bond, they never spoke of love, because what they shared was deeper than words. It was recognition, two souls that had felt the same ache and chose not to run from it. One evening, the queen called them both to the great hall. Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. I have lived my life chasing what cannot be touched, and in doing so, I forgot what must be felt." She turned to the prince. "My son, if your heart finds peace in her, then let the crown find peace in you both." The hall fell silent, and in that silence, a new chapter began. Their wedding was unlike any royal celebration before. There were no jeweled carriages, no golden fireworks, only laughter, songs, and hands held together under open skies. The people sang not for their rulers, but for their own hearts, hearts that had learned to feel again. At the ceremony, Lyra placed a small glass box on the altar. Inside it rested the same green pea that had once tested her. She said quietly, "This is not a symbol of discomfort, but of awareness. May every ruler remember it, for the smallest pain, if ignored, can shake the mightiest kingdom." The crowd bowed their heads, and the wind carried her words across the valley like a blessing. Years passed, the kingdom flourished, but the story of the girl who felt a pea through 100 mattresses became more than a tale. It became a lesson. A mother would tell her child, "Listen to your heart, even if it whispers through a mountain of noise." A teacher would remind her students, "Empathy is the highest form of intelligence." And at the castle, beneath a silver tree planted by Lyra herself, the pea still slept in its glass case, a seed of remembrance. When people asked the prince what had changed his kingdom so deeply, he would smile and say, "It wasn't the storm, it wasn't the crown, it was a single sleepless night that taught us how to feel again." And somewhere beyond the clouds, the old winds that had once carried thunder now carried laughter, for the kingdom of restless hearts had finally learned to rest.
you.